This is Texans TV. Texans Extra Points is sponsored by Community Coffee, strong as our roots, by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans, and by your Houston area Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas, and by Emoji, the official business bank of the Houston Texans.
Happy New Year, friends, and welcome to Texans Extra Points. My name's Drew Dougherty, and we have a powerhouse of a show because John McClain, longtime NFL columnist, is here, as well as the voice of the Houston Texans, Marc Vandermeer. You can hear them on the radio during the week on Texans All Access. Fellas, it's good to be with you. You guys ready to talk a little football?
Thank you.
Let's go!
Let's go, but before we go, we got to do some quick hits, and we got to let you know what's coming on a little bit later in the program. We will have keys to a Texans victory against those Tennessee Titans, plus there's a lot of guys coming, a lot of guys going. So which Texans will you watch and which Texans will they watch? And I'm going one-on-one with linebacker Christian Harris. And as always, we have a telestrator courtesy of John Harris. No relation to Christian. Guys, we got to talk about this Texans offense. I'm going to start with you. CJ Stroud practicing this week. So whether he plays or not, and he's going to play, but whether he plays or not, complete this sentence, John. No matter what happens on Sunday and at Indianapolis the next week, CJ Stroud this season has
wrapped up the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year award.
That works for me.
How about that?
I like that. How about you? Let's complete the sentence, Marc.
He's made my dreams come true as a quarterback. Are you kidding? They draft him second overall. He's phenomenal. The release, Dan Pastorini, who we caught up with on Texans Radio this week, says he has the best release he's ever seen. How about that? Love Stroud. Was that too long of an answer? I went with it.
There's nothing wrong with that. You know a little bit about Dan Pastorini. To hear a guy like that say something about a guy like Stroud weighs a little bit more, doesn't it, John?
Dan, who was a great Oilers quarterback, and he played for years, and he follows the Texans because he lives here, and he loves watching Stroud play.
Yeah, it's been a fun year, and who knows how much better he gets in the years to come. So, expectations on Sunday for this Texans run game. Singletary has had a nice second half of the season. What are your expectations, John?
I think that the Titans will shut down the run game. Mike Vrabel's not going to let it happen. Yeah. What happened in the last game, I think it'll come down to Stroud versus either Will Levis or Ryan Tannehill. I still think it's going to be Tannehill, but quarterback's going to have to throw the ball. Texans' run defense is great. They're going to shut down Henry again, but I don't see Vrabel allowing Singletary to run the way he did 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, where do you stand on the run this week, Marc?
I think it'll be a lot better than it was last week. It'll exist, and I don't know about the output they had at Nashville, but the running game is going to happen for the Houston Texans. It's got to happen, right? They're going to do all they can to make it happen, and the Titans have a lot of guys out on defense, even since the Texans played them just 2 weeks ago.
And thankfully, you won't see Jeffrey Simmons over on the other side of the ball. That guy is an absolute game wrecker. Let's play the spin the wheel game, and we'll stick with you, Marc. Still no Tank Dell. You're not going to see him at all this season. So without Tank Dell, Nico Collins is back. Noah Brown is doing things. Dalton Schultz, also a pass catcher. Spin the wheel. Which pass catcher shines against the Titans this week?
You know, I like Dalton Schultz a lot, and I think Schultz can affect the game, maybe not the volume of catches that some of the other players have, but think about what he does from time to time. 3 catches on a touchdown drive, and then maybe he'll have 1 or 2 others. That's the kind of impact he can have, and C.J. Stroud likes throwing to Dalton Schultz, so I like Schultz in that way. Of course, I like Nico, too. Like them all, Drew, but Schultz, I'll pick him.
He goes with Schultz. Who's your pass catcher?
Nico Collins, leading receiver on the team. He's perfect for this offense. Catch those quick slants, get the yards after the catch. He is having a great season, in which he's going to get a big extension.
He sure will. Okay, we got to get into a telestrator. John Harris has the X's and O's and breaks down something that's happened recently on the offensive side of things.
Texans now have 2 kickoff returns for a touchdown this year, and they're by 2 guys you wouldn't really have thought. Andrew Beck against Jacksonville was a complete and total surprise. The Texans didn't even really know that. Then you have Dameon Pierce on Sunday against the Browns, ran it back. But this is a team effort. Let me show you what happens here. Let's go to the telestrator presented by BMW. Here's Dameon right here. And I think this is a great move because this really gets Dameon downhill, but it really takes advantage of his running back vision. And I'll show you the block I'm talking about that gets him there. So ball's kicked off here. All right. Hopkins going to kick this ball to Dameon. And now the Browns, you can see the Browns crossing here. So they're trying to play around with the assignment. But these guys do a nice job of picking that up and making sure that they block the right guy. You get a great double team right here, okay? Saubert and it looks like Neville have got that taken care of, so that's good. The key blocks here are going to be Jake Hansen there, and then right there, Dare. Those are the blocks to watch. Hansen does a nice job of just getting on him and staying on him, and Dare does a great job of shielding. But Damian sets it up like a running back. As he runs through here, he's going to face up. So this Brown defender actually peeks inside where Damian is, but Damian then darts outside, so he goes back there. That sets up Hansen with a better block. They've got this walled off. Now Damian, boom, scoots through that hole. And you can see his head right now. Now he's got running back vision. I got this. This is a kicker. He better not tackle me. Now I got to get off to the races. But good blocking right there by Jake, staying on it. And then darting through with Damian. And now it's a foot race. Damian going to take it the rest of the way. Sometimes on a kickoff return, all it takes is a couple of key blocks. Everybody executing, and they did it here. The right side, great job of walling off. Jake, good job of staying on the block. And then Damian using his running back instincts to and get out and go for the touchdown. The second kickoff return for the Texans this year.
Pocket collapsing, scrambles to the right. Keenum floats the ball downfield. He's got a man motor across the 50, yes! 40 right sideline. Well into Titan territory, out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Big play to Singletary.
That Case Keenum to Devin Singletary 41-yard pass play in overtime seems like an eternity ago. It was just 2 weeks ago, but this is Texans Extra Points. Drew, John, Mark. Fellas, Kareem Jackson's back. It's like 2012 all over again because he's here. I should say 2011. He's here. D'Amico's here. Case Keenum, John Weeks, they're all back together. J.J. Watt, Sean Cody, Brian Cushy are all warming up. Jokes, not really. All right, let's talk about Kareem's addition. What does that mean for this defense?
He'll get some playing time just like Adrian Amos did. Two guys. Kareem's 35. He gets suspended like every other game. But he'll come into here and he won't make mental mistakes because he's a physical player. I think he's good for a guy like Jalen Petrie, who has not played well. He needs help. And with Jimmy Ward being out. So I like the fact that Kareem's here. And the last time he played here, he kicked the Texans behind.
He was an absolute menace in that game with the Broncos in 2019, like you're talking about. We talked with Kareem in the locker room on Wednesday. He played last on November 19th, and before that, he'd had about a month off as well. So he said, hey, I'm fresh physically. What do you think he brings to this defense, Mark?
Fresh legs. He brings intensity. He's going to fire everybody up with the big hits. He's very physical. He'll come in very handy tackling Derrick Henry. He does not shy away from the edge when he has to take on a big back, so that's really going to be a big plus. He knows the building. He knows D'Amico Ryans, and you mentioned Petrie. With everything Petrie's going through, Kareem went through the worst of it his rookie year, so he can be a good advisor for some of these young players in the secondary. It's going to be great.
That's a really good point you make because what Petrie is hearing is about a fraction of what Kareem. 2010 was a rough year for him. Tell me about Derek Stingley Jr. because one thing that Kareem Jackson brought up was these guys have a lot of playmakers, and he brought up Stingley in particular. How impressed have you been with him since the return?
Very impressed. How can you not? He's a potential Pro Bowler here. And Stingley, when you look at, he's out there making plays. If he's healthy, I've always felt this way. He's contributing. If he's healthy, he's making plays, he's making things happen. Johnny Harris says he has the best hands on the team maybe. Now it's a little bit of a joke, certainly on the defense, because that, you look at some of his picks, they're acrobatic, they're amazing, and let's hope he gets one or two against Will Levis this weekend.
John, this defensive line has got to heal up. How much of a disadvantage are they at this weekend with what we got coming to town?
Looks like Grenard and Will Anderson Jr. are going to be out. Derek Barnett was a great pickup. He played great in Nashville, his hometown. You hope he played well against Cleveland. So he's been a nice addition. Jerry Hughes, probably his last year in the NFL. He's got to step up and play his best game.
What's this D-line need to do?
Well, this D-line began the week with the entire D-line out of practice, okay? So that's a little bit of an alarm, maybe a lot of an alarm, Drew, but they've got a lot of guys, the front seven. They all know the assignment to take on Henry. Henry's going to have a better week than he had. This is not hard to do. Historically bad performance a couple of weeks ago, but they've got to find a way to plug the holes, get the gaps. set the edges, do all the things you need to do to bring down Henry. Get into the backfield and reduce the airspace between Henry and the line of scrimmage.
Henry will not run on them. Nobody runs on them anymore. Keep an eye on Tierra Tart. They claimed him 2 weeks ago. He fell out with Mike Vrabel, and he is frothing at the mouth for a chance to play against the Titans.
This is like when Robert Smith used to take on the Titans after he joined the Texans, okay? And I know Robert liked that. I just said that.
Yeah, we love Robert. He's watching, I'm sure. He's a good, strong Texans fan. You just brought up Tierra Tart. I was walking through the hallway the other day, went up to him, said, "Hey, I'm Drew Dougherty. Nice to meet you." He goes, "Ah, Tart, good to meet you too." I like the way he just kind of said, "Tart, that's it."
Yep.
Hey, one guy who was huge against Derrick Henry a couple weeks back and has been playing really, really well the second half of the season is linebacker Christian Harris. He sat down right around here, and I went one-on-one with him. Here's a bit from our conversation. Linebacker Christian Harris joins us now. Christian, Titans on deck. Texans got two big ones here with Tennessee and then at Indianapolis. This run defense been excellent this season. How come? Why has it been so good?
I think the attention to detail, the coaching obviously, has a major impact on it. Coach D'Amico, Coach Berg, as well as position coaches, Coach Kiff and everybody, just like, focusing on attention to detail. The walkthroughs, everything that we're doing, being like deliberate with it, it translates really well to the game, and, we're able to know, what to expect, what we're getting. Guys, trying to be consistent on doing their fits each and every play. So, I think it's been really helpful this year.
Everybody in the NFL has an edge to them. Doesn't matter the position. Edges are different. You certainly have an edge to you. How important is that to have that edge as a linebacker in the NFL?
I think it's major, especially, being my size. Like, typically going against O-linemen, they're going to be 6'5", about 350, 330. So, there's going to be some big guys. You kind of got to, have that lion-hearted mentality and, just attack, go hunt. It helps me a lot for sure.
Yeah, 2 Sundays ago, you guys shut down the run game of the Tennessee Titans. I think he gave up 39 yards in total. Derrick Henry, he almost had twice as many carries as he did yards. He only had 9 on the ground. You were one of the tips of that spear. How do you go about not necessarily replicating that, but trying to get as close to replicating that as you could?
I think it's the same focus every week. You evaluate the film and you try and go in there with a plan of, dominating the run game and, making, a team one-dimensional. Obviously, it's a great running back that they have in Derrick Henry, and he's had a lot of success. And like I said, just for us, the main thing is doing our job. Like I said, we go out there, we see a number, run and hit. So, that's just what it is.
What's the challenge that their quarterback Will Levis presents for a Texans defense?
He's a fiery guy.
Yeah.
You see like the runs that he makes. He's able to extend plays, let alone sit in the pocket as well. Make great throws, and he does well for the offense. And I think a lot of people over there believe in him, have confidence in him, and that does a lot for them as well. So it's something for sure we're gonna have to prepare for.
What do you think about as a linebacker when you see a quarterback willing to run the way he runs?
I like to hit, so it's exciting, for sure. But it's also for him and himself, it's kind of cool to see a guy have confidence and I guess at this level be willing to sit here and take those shots for his team. And
one last thing, it looks like C.J. Stroud is going to go at quarterback. What's that do for you guys as a defense?
Man, like I said, it's the same objective for us every week, but we're for sure 100% excited to see him go out there and do his thing. And lead them boys. We're standing behind them. Like I said, we have all the faith in the world in them, and we're just going to go out there and try and do our job. Christian, it's been great talking with you. Best of luck against the Titans and next week against the Colts, and hopefully on into the playoffs, and Happy New Year. Yes, sir. Happy New Year. Appreciate y'all.
16-16, 2 seconds to go in overtime. 54-yard attempt, left hash mark. Here's the snap, here's the spot, here's the kick by Fairbairn. Yes! Yes! Good! The Texans win! Yes! Legendary! Fairbairn knocks it through from 54 as the Texans defeat the former Oilers.
Ka'imi Fairbairn's made some big kicks in his career. That was a big one 2 weeks ago. Texans took care of the Titans in Tennessee, in Nashville. Drew Dougherty, John McClain, Marc Vandermeer here on Texans Extra Points. All right, you seem to think Tannehill plays. Looks like Will Levis is going to go, but who's more dangerous? State your case for Tannehill. It doesn't matter who plays. Why would Tannehill be more dangerous than Levis against the Texans?
Because he never lost at NRG Stadium. How about that one?
That's a pretty good one.
And he's got a lot to prove because he's going to have a new team next year. He was awful before he got hurt. 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He knows teams are going to be watching him. He doesn't want them to remember what happened before he got hurt. He wants to put a couple of games on at the end. I think it'd be much better to have Levis, even though he's more mobile. He throws the deep ball more. But give me an inexperienced quarterback over a guy like Tannehill any day of the week.
Tannehill has never lost at NRG Stadium as a Titan, but as a Miami Dolphin, his debut game, he got knocked down by J.J. Watt, passes batted down all over the place. Look, if I'm the Titans, there's no way I'm playing Ryan Tannehill in this game if Levis is ready. I've got to know what I really have in Levis. I know what I have in Tannehill. It does me no good to win a game with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback if I have the rookie available. I need to see what I've got with my second rounder.
Well, of course Levis is going to play if he's ready. That's not a question.
That wasn't the question. I was framing it up. I was doing a little CNN crossfire style.
Okay.
Hey, speaking of guys to throw to, I watched that game 2 weeks ago. I watched DeAndre Hopkins, and everything I saw looked like the guy that was doing it here for all those years. Almost had a big one that it got jostled loose there at the end, and he would have had a much bigger day. 61 yards shy of 1,000. So, over/under. Let's play that game. Does he get 60 over or under yards on Sunday?
On Sunday, in the next 2 weeks, yes.
Okay. But
on
not
Sunday, no.
Okay.
No.
Derek Stingley played really well against him. What do you see?
Yes, because Stingley plays on one side, and they will not have Hop on his side going against him. Last time they didn't throw to Hop in the first half. Obviously, in the second half, they threw to him 7 or 9 times, something like that. I think he gets it. I take the over. And he had 5 1,000-yard seasons here. This will be the 7th of his career.
I could see it, and that's no disrespect to anything or anyone on the Texans defense. Okay, Derrick Henry, we've made so much about what they did, the Texans, to him 2 weeks ago. So over/under, he's averaged 64.8 yards per game on the ground this year. Hit the over, hit the under on that one.
Under.
Okay.
They'll have over on that 9 yards last time, but the Texans' run defense is great.
Yeah.
Of all the improvements they've made this year, including at quarterback, nothing equals the improvement they've made against the run. They set the edges. They dominate in the middle. Now, the only way he gets that if there's a lot of injuries up front, but I still think they keep him to the under.
Remember those days about 5-6 months ago when we said, can you imagine if the Texans' run defense was just adequate, just average, and they've been excellent this year? What do you see?
I think he gets between 70 and 100, somewhere in there. I think he's more productive than he was, obviously. But that's still a big deal.
Yeah.
If he had gotten below 100, any number, 2 weeks ago, we would have hung a banner up here because of what he's done the previous 5 games against the Texans heading into that one. So I'll take 75, 80 yards. That's fine, as long as it's the right kind. You're good on third down. He's not getting in the end zone. That sort of thing.
Small point of contention. He was exaggerating. We're not the Indianapolis Colts. We're not hanging banners for that type of thing. So let's do Texans to watch, Mark. Who are you keeping your eyes on Sunday against Tennessee?
All right, I am keeping my eyes on the law firm of Barnett and Hughes because they are going to get a lot of snaps in this game at defensive end. I mean, think about this. Last week, you are playing that game against the Cleveland Browns, and you have defensive ends and safeties who were not with the team when the season began. And 2 of those 4 were not with the team about a month ago, right? So Barnett and Hughes, much needed with all the injuries they have at defensive end. Those guys are going to have to set the edge. It's not just making the tackles, not getting the sacks. It's setting the edge. So Henry has nowhere to go outside. He's going to try to run inside, try to run anywhere based on what happened 2 weeks ago.
Okay, he's got the 2 D ends. Who about you?
I am taking the law firm of C.J. and Stroud. That's the obvious one. Does he show any ill effects from his concussion? Does he come out firing? Because I think they're going to struggle against the run. I think Stroud is the most important player in this game. I think he's going to play well and lead them to a victory.
Those are good ones. I'm going to go with the guy that I interviewed here a moment ago, in Christian Harris. He was magnificent in the first game that these 2 teams played. He's been excellent the second half of the season. You're going to need him in a big, big way with some of the injuries along that defensive front. So give me Christian Harris and give me some more Texans extra points, because when we return, we've got 2 keys to a victory from each of these guys as well as myself. We're going to take you on home. Stick with us.
Extra Points has been sponsored by Community Coffee, Strong as Our Roots, by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans, and by Mattress Firm, the official sleep partner of the Houston Texans.
We're back, friends. One final segment of Texans Extra Points. Drew Dougherty, John McClain, and Marc Vandermeer, the voice of the Houston Texans, with you. And it's that time of the program where we get two keys to a victory from each of you. So what two things must the Texans do to come away with a victory?
Well, look, saying you got to stop Henry is like saying you have to outscore the opponent, right? So I'm going to go with this. Limit the explosives. The Texans have given up way too many explosive plays this season. They know it. This is something they fess up to. So you have to find a way to keep whoever the quarterback is from going deep, from finding receivers who can catch and run and make damaging plays occur. The other thing is, I do want to harass the quarterback like you did 2 weeks ago, all right? It's obvious you have to slow down Henry, but third down, you got to get pressure on the quarterback, make sure you can get off the field, and let Stroud eat.
All right.
Try to build a running game, control the clock, keep the defense fresh. Even if you can't run the ball very well, use the short passes to Devin Singletary or Brevin Jordan or Dalton Schultz. You got to hold the ball, not have a lot of 3 and outs. The other one, special teams. You know, Damian Pierce all of a sudden came out of nowhere for a great weapon, but Kaimi Fairbairn has been fabulous. I think it's going to be a close game, and I think Fairbairn is the key. He's going to have a lot of field goals.
All right, earlier on the show, earlier this season, I said stay dynamite, meaning just stay explosive. Keep those deep shots coming. Let's see if C.J. Stroud can do that. If you can do that in this game, good things are going to happen because it opens up so much else. So be explosive, completions of 20 yards or more, and then get some takeaways. This team has been excellent this year as far as turnover differential. Took a little bit of a dip last week, but stay positive in that category. Positive things will happen. Marc, John, thank you so much. Happy New Year to you both. Appreciate you being here, and we always appreciate you checking us out here on Texans Extra Points. We got one final regular season show next week, so stick with us there, and we'll see you in a bit. Get your H's up.
Be early, be loud. Go Texans.
Second Bears.